Live from NBC4, this is the Channel 4 News at 5.
President-elect Barack Obama, with the historic election now behind him, he is focusing on the White House and moving ahead with his transition, now just 76 days away. He will be sworn in as the 44th president of these United States. And he will have to confront a number of challenges, including 2 wars and this nation's economic crisis. Good evening, everyone. I'm Colleen Williams.
And I'm Paul Moyer. This election ushers in a new era of political power for the Democrats, and President-elect Obama moving very quickly to begin filling out his new administration. Here are the numbers from the popular vote: 52% for Obama, 46% for McCain. Obama got 349 electoral votes. John McCain got 173. Let's go to reporter Steve Handelsman live tonight in the city of Chicago. Steve.
Thanks, and good evening. Barack Obama has not yet announced when he will be moving his organization from here in Chicago to Washington. But today, the man who's been on the move for the better part of a year and a half took it easy. No more campaigning. Back home in Chicago, Barack Obama went to the gym, sticking with what he'd said last night.
This is our moment. This is our time to put our people back to work and open doors of opportunity for our kids.
Time magazine today rushed out a special edition, and the world buzzed about what Obama did. A record number of votes cast. Obama won 52% and won at least 6 red states, including Virginia, Indiana, Colorado. A stunning step forward for African Americans. This was Howard University.
I shouted for joy.
Congressman John Lewis, beaten as a civil rights leader, blown away last night.
I just thought about all of the people that have passed this way, who suffered, who struggled, some who died on this road to gain the right to vote.
Republican Condoleezza Rice, blown away today.
One of the great things about representing this country is that it continues to surprise. It continues to renew itself.
With the economy in crisis and America fighting 2 wars, John McCain, heading off for some R&R, pledged to help Obama. So did Sarah Palin, as she headed back to run Alaska.
I'm happy to do that because, again, we're all in this together.
Next for Obama and Vice President-elect Joe Biden is putting together their administration. They're expected to include Republicans. Democratic Congressman Rahm Emanuel of Chicago, a Clinton administration veteran, could be White House Chief of Staff. President Bush spoke to Obama.
I told the president-elect he can count on complete cooperation from my administration as he makes the transition to the White House.
Barack Obama on his way to the Oval Office. Transitions can be tricky, picking personnel and setting priorities, but those have been some of Barack Obama's strengths. From Chicago, I'm Steve Handelsman, Channel 4 News.
There was certainly no honeymoon for the new president-elect on Wall Street today. New round of bad economic news scared investors into a broad market retreat. All of the major indexes dropped more than 5 percentage points today. The Dow shed close to 500 points, giving back gains from yesterday's Election Day rally. The struggling economy may be President-elect Obama's #1 challenge. Channel 4's Doug Krieg live in Sherman Oaks with that story. Doug.
That's right, Colleen. Clearly, job 1 for President-elect Obama is to deal with the major economic downturn. Here's the most common storefront sign all over town. It says, "For lease." The business bankruptcy rate in Southern California is the highest it's been in decades. Major chains and local stores shutting down everywhere. Credit card debt ballooning to dangerous levels. The unemployment rate in California is high and rising. It's already 2% worse than the national average.
But above all, I will never forget who this victory truly belongs to.
What must President-elect Barack Obama do to get the economy moving again?
Definitely, though, he needs to get to a point where we're putting money in the pockets of taxpayers, money back into the pockets of some of the middle-income people, the lower-income people, and putting us in a position where we can begin to buy things, where we can maybe have a Christmas after all.
The Obama options spelled out during the campaign include a $100 billion public works program, putting people back to work, strengthening bridges, building roads. If he extends unemployment benefits, that could strengthen the safety net under millions of families. Some experts say low interest rates will temper the rise in foreclosures.
Keep them at the low level that they're at now, because we don't want interest rates creeping up, because a lot of homes that are going into foreclosure are those adjustable rate mortgages.
What about Wall Street, where greed and lack of regulations created a global financial meltdown? What can Obama do differently?
Less greed, and we've got to have Wall Street controlled. Wall Street has not been controlled. They will let loose to do virtually anything they wanted to do. That's got to be tempered.
The two things needed to get the economy moving again are money and confidence. Somehow, Obama's got to get both of them going. Live in Sherman Oaks, Doug Kriegel, Channel 4 News.
Got it, Doug. Thank you. Arguably, it was the most controversial state issue on the ballot. You know, I'm talking about Proposition number 8, the constitutional amendment that eliminates the rights of same-sex couples to marry. It appears now, and there are still a few votes to be counted, but it looks like the measure has passed, with about 52.5% of the voters putting a stop to gay marriages in the state of California. Channel 4's Ted Chen, live in West Hollywood tonight, and he's got the rest of the story. Ted?
Paul, a spokesman for Yes on 8 said what Californians did yesterday was protect traditional marriage and reclaim a great tradition. But the No on 8 forces are vowing to keep fighting, and that includes a couple who thought they had made history in June, but are now wondering if history made a great big U-turn.
And so Robin and Diane, in the presence of these witnesses.
When Robin Tyler and Diane Olson got married on live television in Beverly Hills last June, they thought they had reached their mountaintop. Same-sex marriage had been legalized in California, and after a 35-year relationship, they wanted to be one of the first to climb that peak.
I now pronounce you spouses for life.
But California's voters yesterday reached up and pulled them down. Proposition 8 was approved, and now L.A. County has stopped issuing same-sex marriage licenses, and thousands of marriages have been thrown into doubt. It's a bitter pill for Tyler and Olson, who were one of the first gay couples to sue to be legally married and who thought they had won.
The fact that some people would like to undo or I do makes me very sad.
But they're not willing to stop fighting. Today, the couple announced another lawsuit to challenge Proposition 8.
I am still married to Diane today. I do not want the word domestic partnership. We want the word marriage.
For them, the toughest part was seeing African Americans who helped elect Barack Obama president vote so overwhelmingly against same-sex marriage and not see it as an issue of civil rights, as if Tyler and Olson did not belong on the same mountaintop that Dr. Martin Luther King had fought to reach.
I am disappointed in the African American community, but hopeful that they will revisit it and see us also as a civil rights movement.
They're convinced they're all riding the same bus, and they too won't sit in the back. Now, scheduled at 6 p.m. today here near West Hollywood Park is a rally for the No on 8 forces, who say that the passage of Prop 8 is just a temporary defeat in the long march toward civil rights in America. Reporting live from West Hollywood, Ted Chen, Channel 4 News. Paul, calling back to you.
All right, Ted, and California voters had a number of other propositions to decide. In fact, let's take a look at some of those latest returns. First, let's go to Proposition 1A. It passed 52 to 48%. It authorizes the state to sell nearly $10 billion in bonds for a high-speed rail system that would eventually connect Southern and Northern California. Now, Proposition 2, that creates new standards for confining farm animals. There were a lot of emotional ads on both sides for this, and as you can see, this one passed by a wide margin, 63 to 37%.
Yeah, Colleen, also Proposition 4 would require parental notification for teen abortions. Now, this one's been on the ballot at least twice before and lost twice, and it did again. It failed with 52% of voters saying no and 48% of voters saying yes. Also, Proposition 5 was also rejected. It would have expanded rehabilitation programs for 84,000 drug offenders annually. It lost 60% to 40%.
And we now have a new supervisor for the Los Angeles County 2nd District, and more history being made here. State Senator Mark Ridley Thomas has become the first African-American man ever elected to the LA County Board of Supervisors. Ridley Thomas got more than 60% of the vote. He said he is confident he will work well with other supervisors, even though a majority of them backed his opponent, Bernard Parks. Today, Ridley Thomas said law enforcement issues will be at the top of his agenda.
That they want someone with whom they can work. They've been a part of what I've done. You heard the sheriff talk about the work I've done on dialogues, trying to bring the community and law enforcement together, particularly around controversial shootings, and there's an abundance of evidence of that. So they've been paying attention to the work that I've done over the years.
Ridley Thomas will replace Yvonne Burke on the LA County Board of Supervisors. She is retiring at the end of this year.
We continue tonight. She became an overnight star in the Republican Party. The question is, what now?
Sarah Palin talks more about her future in politics coming up next. Plus, here's Fritz.
Spectacular day today. However, we have a wind advisory and a frost advisory to talk about. Don't miss my live weather plus forecast just ahead.
And we have more election news to tell you about right now. While political experts debate the so-called Palin factor, today Sarah Palin addressed her political future. She was in Phoenix this morning and greeted her supporters in the lobby of the Arizona Biltmore Hotel. Palin says she is anxious to return to work as Alaska's governor and says she doesn't know what's going to happen in the year 2012. She also said she is sorry if she contributed to John McCain's loss last night.
If I cost John McCain even one vote, I am sorry about that, because John McCain, I believe, is the American hero. I had believed that it was his time.
Palin also said it's time for Americans to unite and work together. And as for running for national office in 2012, she says that's many, many years away.
Certainly is, but back to now. Here's a race that a lot of people were watching. Minnesota Senate race is headed for a recount. 571 votes separate the top two candidates here. Republican incumbent Norm Coleman and former comedian turned politician Democrat Al Franken. The slimness of Coleman's lead triggered a mandatory recount. You see, Minnesota law requires a recount anytime the margin between the top two candidates is less than 0.5%. Coleman got 42.03% of the votes. Franken, 42.01%. Therefore, you got your mandatory recount. Nearly 3 million votes were cast.
Let me be clear. Our goal is to ensure that every vote is properly counted. Let me be clear. This race is too close to call, and we do not yet know who won.
Minnesota Secretary of State said today the recount in this Senate race won't begin until the middle of this month at the earliest, and it'll probably stretch well into December.
Convicted Alaska Senator Ted Stevens is in the tightest race of his political career. The final outcome hinges on thousands of absentee ballots. The Republican holds a slim lead over the Democratic challenger, Mark Begich. More than 40,000 absentee ballots have yet to be counted, and that must happen in the next 10 days. A spokesperson says Stevens remains cautiously optimistic about keeping his Senate seat. The veteran Alaska politician was found guilty last month of accepting hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of gifts and services and then not disclosing them.
So it's the day after the night before and all this political stuff. You know, in the middle of it, not a bad day. Are they going to get better? We'll find out. Here's Fritz Coleman. Fritz.
Gorgeous. It's as if all the tension was swept from the air. It's a beautiful, comfortable day. We do have some wind and some frost in some communities to talk about. Let's go out to the San Fernando Valley wind bush. The first place we look, whenever there's a hint of a wind advisory, we always check for the accuracy of the wind advisory by checking the movement of the San Fernando Valley wind bush. Right now, it looks like an oil painting. No problem in the mountains looking northward there from Mulholland Drive. Now, let's talk about what we have. It's sort of a Santa Ana wind without the winds. Winds have been out of the northwest and north, and now they're going to shift around and become northeast to southwest. It will be what we'll call a moderate offshore flow. Dry, warm, downsloping air, warming some of the coastal spots up into the 80-degree range or slightly above. We do have a wind advisory until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. LA and Ventura County mountains, excluding the Santa Monica range. We could see some gusts out of the northwest and north at about 50 miles an hour. In wind-protected spots in the high desert, Antelope Valley, Palmdale, and Lancaster, we're talking about a frost advisory. From 2 to 7 o'clock overnight tonight, we're looking at maybe 2 hours of temperatures sitting between 29 and 32 degrees. Succulent plants, temperature-sensitive plants ought to be brought indoors, and certainly start to bring your pets indoors. It's that time of year. So a cool night in wind-protected spots, a dry, warm offshore flow for a couple of days, kicking temperatures up into the mid and upper 80s before they start to head back down to more seasonal fall-like temperatures in the latter part of the 7-day outlook. Let's go to the overnight lows, mid and upper 40s to low 50s tonight, 52 downtown and 51 at Long Beach Airport. Highs tomorrow anywhere from 8 to 10 degrees warmer, 81 in Ontario, same for Temecula, Riverside, 79 San Bernardino, 67 in Apple Valley. Up in the Antelope Valley, where they're getting down there near freezing tonight, 70, 83 degrees inland Orange County. But look at this evidence of the offshore flow. 82 Oxnard and Ventura, which is warmer than you'll find in Thousand Oaks, Woodland Hills, Santa Clarita, or Northridge. Here's the Mathis Brothers 7-day outlook for LA, Ventura, and Orange County. Warming toward Friday, warmest day everywhere when all the coast is going to go 80 plus, 85 downtown. The same temperatures you'll find in the valleys. Look at the Inland Empire, middle column, the valleys. They too will find Friday the warmest day. And what we're going to probably see is tapering off temperatures down toward the last 3 days of the 7-day outlook there as more fall-like temperatures. So it felt spectacular today.
Well, it's good because we had a political hangover, and that kind of helped to relieve
That's
things.
what we're suffering from,
I
huh?
think that's what it is, or we're just tired. I don't know what it is. All right, an ancient remnant from the Parthenon was returned to Greece today in an agreement designed to improve relations between two of the world's great Christian denominations. The ancient marble head is owned by the Vatican, and its return was arranged in meetings between the Pope and a Greek Orthodox Church leader. Now, technically, the piece is on loan, but the Vatican says the loan could be extended. Britain, which owns the largest concentration of Parthenon artifacts, says the deal will not affect its long-standing refusal to return other certain relics to Greece. Those artifacts, known as the Elgin marbles, were acquired in the 18th century during the Ottoman occupation of Greece. So there you go.
Coming up right here, it's a scary situation for children and their parents.
Yeah, it is, but you know what? That could change next to safe and effective treatment for children with a serious vision problem.
Coming up at 6, Prop 8, the same-sex marriage ban passes. So how did this couple get married today? Plus,
I kept screaming at him, please stop.
beaten at Pechanga Casino, what this man claims and who he says did it. Next at 6.
Author Michael Crichton, whose most famous books were turned into major Hollywood blockbusters, has died from cancer. Crichton's top-selling books included Jurassic Park, The Andromeda Strain, Rising Sun, and Disclosure. He was also co-creator of the NBC television hit ER. Director Steven Spielberg remembered him today as a gentle soul whose talent outscaled his own dinosaurs. Family members say Michael Crichton died in Los Angeles. He was 66 years old.
Kids with damaged corneas used to have very few options, but now a new procedure is actually able to give them back their sight. Dr. Bruce Hensel explains.
The way 4-year-old Abby Riggins plays tag with her brother, you'd never know she had a serious eye problem at birth.
Her eyes were different. They were glossy blue with nothing else to them.
Abby was born with severe glaucoma. Pressure in her eyes started to stretch her cornea.
Over time, the eyes became more cloudy, and they had the central scarring right in the middle.
Abby's vision was gradually obstructed right at a critical time in her brain's development.
You are not born with a sense of sight. You are born with an apparatus that is not quite functional, is becoming functional, but yet you have to learn how to use it.
For adults, corneal transplants are an option, but a child's immune system rejects them in weeks. Now we're implanting artificial corneas in kids.
It's only 3 millimeters in diameter. That's about the diameter of an eraser at the end of your pencil.
The implant has 2 parts. The most important, the clear optical piece that brings light and images to the eye.
So that little plastic device that is 3 millimeters in diameter has all of the optics in it to accept light rays and project them in the back of the eye.
Once it's implanted, it's permanent, and the brain starts learning to see.
Within a matter of a couple of weeks, they're seeing as well as that eyeball is ever going to see.
And with ongoing care from an eye specialist, kids like Abby will continue to get close-ups of the world. The research is being done at the University of Rochester Medical Center in Rochester, New York. That's the main corneal surgery place worldwide for these implants in children. But there are surgeons being trained here and all around the world to expand the availability of this vision-saving surgery. Early is important. Ask your doctor what's right for your child. I'm Dr. Bruce Hensel.
Sure was important for her. Thank you, Dr. Bruce. Critical day in court for Mike Corona.
Coming up next, we have this.
I'm Vicki Vargas. According to Don Heidel, Mike Corona promised him he could have anything he wanted if he would just help him get elected. More about that testimony coming up in a live report.
Tomorrow morning on Today in LA. When the big one hits, will you be prepared? What to do and not to do in the event of an earthquake. A preview of the largest drill in U.S. history. The Great Shakeout. Tomorrow morning on Today in LA from 5 to 7 a.m.
Election night exclusive with Oprah.
There are not even words for me to talk about what this night means.
Plus, our Voting with the Stars exclusive. Next, Access Hollywood.
Tonight at 7:30. Think you have a cheating spouse, a child experimenting with drugs, or an undiagnosed STD? Home testing kits are flying off store shelves, but is there a risk to these easy-to-use tests? Thursday on the Channel 4 News at 11.
The corruption trial of the man once known as America's Sheriff. Former Orange County Sheriff Mike Corona fighting to stay out of prison. And there was testimony today from a millionaire businessman. Good evening once again, everybody. I'm Paul Moyer.
And I'm Colleen Williams. That businessman is said to be a key government witness in the case against the former Sheriff Mike Corona. And he says Corona proposed laundering campaign donations soon after the two met. The former sheriff is accused of taking cash and bribes in exchange for favors. Let's go to Channel 4's Vicki Vargas. She is live in Santa Ana with more on this story today. Vicki.
And Colleen, when Don Heidel took the stand, he said he didn't know anything about election laws until he met both Mike Corona and George Jaramillo. He said he immediately reached out to friends and family for donations, agreeing to reimburse them in cash because cash was untraceable. According to Don Heidel, Mike Corona said he didn't need the job as sheriff, that he was running for office because there was a lot of money to be made in the sheriff's department. In court, Heidel testified he was the one who bankrolled Corona's 1998 campaign. The Newport Beach businessman says Corona promised if he won, they would own the sheriff's department and have 1,800 guns and 5,000 employees at their disposal. He said the trade-off was that he needed to funnel $30,000 to Corona's campaign for sheriff, and then, quote, I could have anything I want. Mike, is this difficult, seeing Don Heidel on the stand?
You know better than to ask me a question.
Heidel testified Corona was half of a magical team, the preacher who adapted to his audience. He called George Jaramillo the pickpocket. Together, he testified they convinced him to back Corona's run for office. Heidel says he offered his home and his boat for fundraisers, paying for all the costs. He also testified that he reimbursed more than 40 donors at $1,000 apiece after they wrote checks to the Mike Corona for Sheriff campaign.
I think that the real Mike Corona has been hidden from much of the public.
Heidel admitted he was trying to hide the source of the money from Shirley Grindell, who helped write laws on political contributions.
Corona, from the first day he got elected, started doing things that all his advisors advised him, don't hire Jaramillo, don't hire Don Heidel. They've got shady backgrounds.
Heidel also testified Corona vowed to make money by moving inmates out of the overcrowded county jail and into a private facility, which would be built by another campaign contributor. According to Don Heidel, Corona joked they would be called Ron's Happy Homes. And that would be after one of another contributors known as Ron Cedillo. Heidel also told the jury how he has pled guilty to one count of filing a false tax return and almost immediately began cooperating with the government on this case. Live in Santa Ana, I'm Vicki Vargas, Channel 4 News.
All right, Vicki, a Missouri woman charged in the so-called MySpace suicide case is asking now for a non-jury trial in federal court. Prosecutors say that Lori Drew pretended to be a teenage boy on a popular social networking site and sent messages posing as the boy to a young girl who later hanged herself. One of those messages allegedly said the world would be a better place without the teenage girl. The federal case is thought to be the first instance of cyberbullying to be prosecuted in the United States. The judge indicated that he'll rule on the request for a non-jury trial within the next week.
Back now to the election. We have a look at some of the other propositions on the California ballot this November. First, Proposition 11. That is the redistricting initiative to create a citizens commission that would draw the political districts. Now, this is still a very, very close one. 51% say yes, 49% say no. This one has still not been called, still too close. Prop 12 passed, authorizing $900 million in bonds for home loans for California veterans. This one won by 63 to 37%.
Also, Prop 6 was rejected. It would have required spending at least $965 million a year on programs for police, prosecutors, jails, and juvenile lockups. It lost 69 to 31%. Also, Prop 7 was also defeated, 64% to 35%. The number's right there. This prop would have required all electric utility companies, private and public, to generate at least 20% of the electricity they sell from renewable sources or resources by 2010, ending in 50% by the year 2025.
As we've been telling you, the voters decided on several key propositions and ballot measures last night. Channel 4's Conan Nolan live in our newsroom right now with more on the winners and the losers and what this means for taxpayers. Conan.
Well, Colleen, for some it was an early Christmas. For example, if you're a member of an engineers union that builds transit projects, last night might guarantee you work over the next 30 years. But for others, it was not a good night. Among the winners on Election Day, Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, Proposition 11, which takes away the power of state lawmakers to draw their own district boundaries, was his ballot priority. It appears to have squeezed out a narrow victory.
And that's what we have done. We have focused on that proposition.
A big loser last night, oil billionaire T. Boone Pickens, who sponsored Proposition 10, a $5 billion bond measure that some believe would have benefited his natural gas fueling company. Liberal billionaire George Soros also lost. He spent $1.5 million on Proposition 5, which would have reduced jail time for drug offenders. L.A. Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa was a winner. The sales tax hike for L.A. County means he'll be able to build his subway to the sea, tying downtown to Santa Monica, which leads to the debate over how the taxpayers fared.
The people spoke, and those people came out and they said, we're willing to pay for the following things.
Such as Measure R, which will cost every man, woman, and child in Los Angeles County an estimated $25 a year. And that wasn't the only ballot box budgeting taking place. The high-speed rail bond is estimated to cost close to $20 billion over the next 30 years. A children's hospital bond, $2 billion. Veterans benefits, $1.8 billion. Like borrowing off a credit card, it will all need to be repaid in installments.
For example, if with Proposition 1A, which is the rail bond, you have to pay $647 million a year to pay off that bond. That's $647 million you're not going to have for health care and education and the other services of the state.
And although bond measures are marketed by saying they won't raise taxes, in reality they could, with the state already paying billions each year to pay off bonds approved in previous elections prior to yesterday's spending at the ballot box. I'm Conan Nolan, Channel 4 News.
All right, Conan. Voter apathy, not anymore. It was an election that sparked new interest in politics.
Coming up next, this.
I'm Kerry Berglund at Inglewood High School. Last night, the country voted for change. So how will it change things here? We'll talk to students coming up in a live report.
Lakers talk about last night's presidential election, a wild scene to show you from college football, and a high school football play you simply will not believe. You do not want to miss it.
Tonight is the new night for justice.
I like the sound of this.
Kids on the case on a new Knight Rider. Allow me to drive. Then the Wednesday premiere of Life.
Want to show you my badge? Still here.
Solving television's most fascinating cases. And the original Wednesday crime drama is back.
Just get me the indictment.
The season premiere of Law & Order.
Justice by other means.
Knight Rider, Life, and Law & Order. Tonight, the new night for justice on NBC.
Going to take a little basketball and throw in some politics, and here's Fred.
All right, last night's historic presidential victory by Barack Obama has had a profound effect on many people, including several members of the Lakers. Many have been quite outspoken about their support for the Democratic senator. Here's Mario Solis.
This year's passionate interest in the presidential election did not spare the oftentimes secluded world of sports.
Took a survey of the team. 90% of the kids voted. It was kind of nice to see.
I'm excited to to see what Barack can come into office and do now.
The enthusiasm was not lessened by the likelihood of a tax increase to almost 40%. Under Obama's new tax plan, Kobe Bryant will pay an additional $1.6 million next year.
We're blessed to make the salaries that we do, so I hope that we can provide some kind of financial help for a lot of families struggling to make it.
Players seem to be inspired by the promise of change and the philosophy of hope.
We're closer to getting to that point where we really can tell our kids, you can be anything you want to be, no matter who you are or where you're from.
Fisher, however, emphasizes it's not about race, it's about America.
The one thing about President-elect Obama is, he's the president of the United States. He's not the president of black people or president of colored people or president of just the minorities. He's the president of the United States. So we all still have a responsibility, no matter who we are.
Mario Solis, Channel 4 Sports.
All right, now how about this? During last Sunday's Bills-Jets game in Buffalo, 37 people arrested for breaking the law, but there was one incident that really stood out. It involved a woman and her boyfriend, and they were having sex in a stall of a women's bathroom. They were each charged with trespassing and disorderly conduct, but this wasn't the first time it's happened in Buffalo. Back in '98, the couple was caught having sex in the stands. And all this time, I never knew the Bills were such high scorers. Now check this out from college football, where Buffalo and Miami of Ohio played out the electoral map on the field. Each team received an NCAA exemption to wear all blue and red uniforms. So which team won out? Well, just like Obama, the blue did, as Buffalo's James Starks broke free from party lines, weaved his way across the aisle 62 yards for the touchdown. The blue won in a landslide 37-17. Here's something you have to see from a high school game in Georgia. Now watch closely. Player from Lassiter High couldn't make the grab in the back of the end zone, so he flipped the ball to his teammate for the touchdown. Totally legal and totally incredible. Another look at one of the smartest plays you'll ever see. Lassiter High is known as the Trojans, and they already wear the same colors. So after seeing this play, perhaps Pete Carroll should give that kid a call. That's a great play. This Sunday on The Challenge, our big-name guest will be Dodger owner Frank McCourt. About an hour ago, I sat down with Frank and asked him the one question on the mind of every fan. Will the team re-sign Manny Ramirez?
We're not going to be afraid to pay Manny. It's going to be a question of the length of the contract, I think, and we'll see how that goes. And we can only control what we can control, which is sort of our half of the equation. And that's why I always say, to a large extent, whether Manny comes back or not is more in his control than it is ours.
Considering Manny is 36 years old, we wanted to ask how long of a contract should the Dodgers offer. Go to our website, NBCLosAngeles.com, click on the sports link, and vote in our online poll. Paul and Colleen, back to you.
All right, Fred, thank you. It was an historic election, but will it influence the next generation of voters?
Coming up next, this.
I'm Kerry Berglund, live at Inglewood High School, where the kids here aren't old enough to vote, but they're old enough to connect the dots and perhaps change what they think of each other. That story coming up.
All right, Kerry, just time enough for another look outside, and there you go. Fritz is standing by to update the forecast coming up. Young voters between the ages of 18 and 30 came out in record numbers for yesterday's presidential election, and according to exit poll data, they went for Obama 68% to 30% over John McCain. And there is a next generation of potential voters, even younger than that. High school kids, perhaps inspired by the Obama victory. Kerry Berglund, live in Inglewood tonight, looking into that. Kerry.
Those high school kids, their parents heard and responded to Obama's message of unity. But will the high school kids here at Inglewood High School respond to that message? Well, perhaps eventually. At first glance, it looks like just another school day. Another Wednesday that begins with the morning bell and ends with homework and the walk home. But this Wednesday is different. The kids here at Inglewood High School can't possibly comprehend how different, but they are old enough to know that history was made last night.
It's a change that's coming for us, the economy, the war, the healthcare and everything. And people, us students, will realize that, wow, we can be united as one. Now, younger kids see that anything's possible because they just seen a black African-American man become president.
It will become more clear to them as Wednesdays come and go that the vote their parents cast made a change happen in this country only because it was combined with the votes of most of their classmates' parents.
It's going to change. I feel that because everybody, like in first period, we were talking about that, and everybody said that it was going to change. That it was going to change everybody's point of view and everybody's ideas.
Some kids that weren't talking are getting along because they all believed, Obama. Like, they've been sharing facts today about Obama.
At a school that has made news with tensions between the Black and Latino students, maybe on this Wednesday, they will begin to look at each other the way their new president wants them to. Maybe today, they will begin to see the we more than the us and them.
Hopefully the Black and brown could come together now, like stop all the violence and stuff.
Do you think that'll help change the way you guys think about each other in high school?
I don't know. It probably just like I don't think so, though, just to tell the truth, sir.
Obama! Change happened on the national stage last night. But when it will trickle down to the often impenetrable high school stage remains to be seen.
It will get better.
Yeah, it will get better. Obama could make a change.
So it begins with kids thinking about and talking about what they agree on so they can learn to stop disagreeing. We're live tonight in Inglewood. I'm Kerry Berglund, Channel 4 News. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Kerry, thank you. We're going to go back to Fritz right now with a quick look at the weather. Fritz.
Yes, ma'am. It's about, a moderate offshore flow. We do have a wind advisory in effect for the mountains of L.A. County till 4 in the morning. Gusts could go 50 miles an hour in the canyons and passes, those north-south facing canyons and passes. We also have a frost advisory for the Antelope Valley. Wind-protected spots have a frost advisory between 2 and 7 a.m. That means for a period of 2 hours or more, temperatures will drop to between 29 and 32 degrees. Time of year to start letting your pets stay indoors. Take care of those sensitive plants outside. Here's looking out the 7-day outlook for L.A., Ventura, and Orange County. We're warming up toward Friday. Friday, the warmest day when we're going 80-plus at the beaches with the offshore flow. Coast is often as warm as we find in the valleys. 85 downtown and 85 in the valleys as well. And we'll cool temperatures down into the 70s again the last 3 days of the 7-day outlook. Here's looking out the Inland Empire. We're going warm to Friday, and we're tapering off inland as well. Beautiful day today, and several more to come. Have a great night. We'll see you at 6.
Thanks, sir. We know it makes it easier to fill up, but there is another benefit to lower gas prices.
Coming up next right here, travel deals that you can grab right now for the holidays.
Thursday on the Channel 4 News at 11. Think you have a cheating spouse, a child experimenting with drugs, or an undiagnosed STD?
So people call us freaking out.
Suspicious minds can uncover the truth that may be hiding inside their home.
Our products are popular to find out what your nanny is doing, what your teenagers are doing, or what your spouse is doing.
Home testing kits are flying off store shelves, but is there a risk to these easy-to-use tests? And can you handle the truth? Thursday at 11.
Should a mattress be firm or have a thick, cushy top?
Are inner springs the best?
Or that memory foam stuff?
Is the California King wider?
Or
is it longer?
Shopping for a mattress is confusing. That's why only Sit and Sleep has a computerized system that scientifically matches the right mattress to your body profile. So all you have to know about mattresses is what feels good to you.
Is a twin fuller than a full?
Or do two twins make a double?
Sit and Sleep will beat anyone's advertised price, or your mattress is free!
Today, scrubologists reveal how the automatic shower cleaner really works. Scrubbing bubbles combined with the water left on your shower walls. Then they clean as they slide down. Removes mildew stains and soap scum. Cleans a dirty shower in days, then keeps it clean.
Nice job.
No biggie. Scrubbing Bubbles Automatic Shower Cleaner. We work hard so you don't have to. S.E. Johnson, a family company.
Maaco paints over 500,000 cars every year, more than anyone else. And no one gets you back faster. Maaco, America's body shop.
Does your car run good but look bad? Why buy a new or used car? Maaco can make your car look good again for less than one car payment. That's right, Maaco's Ambassador Paint Service is only $2.99. Make a smart choice and paint your car and save. Come to Maaco today and get their economic Ambassador Paint Service for only $2.99. Maaco, the collision repair shop that paints cars.
Okay, Tommy. Beep. Hey, Nancy's phone. Nancy doesn't have AT&T, so no bars here. Yeah, we're not getting the call about how Freddy the fun-loving dinosaur's costume was damaged. Apparently, they're sending T-Rex. Yeah, we missed that call. Yay, memories.
For the best coverage, switch to AT&T. More bars in more places.
Get an exclusive quick messaging phone for $79.99 after mail-in rebate.
When you start early, you save early at Kohl's Holiday Sale, starting Wednesday at 7 a.m. You'll dazzle this holiday season in Simply Vera Vera Way at 25 to 40% off, and in all your favorite looks from Elle at 25 to 40% off. Find 50 to 60% off fine jewelry, and frames are half price. Why wait to decorate? Holiday trim is 50% off, and all kitchen electrics are on sale too. It's Kohl's Holiday Sale, starting Wednesday at 7 a.m. Kohl's, expect great things.
Oprah Winfrey presents The Color Purple.
Coming to the Orange County Performing Arts Center November 18th. Call 714-556-2787.
Travel experts say an airfare war is driving down ticket prices just in time for the holidays. Northwest Airlines started slashing fares, then other airlines cut their prices as well. The experts say bargain deals are the result of lower jet fuel costs and competition, but they say if you're considering traveling over the holidays, don't wait too long to book that flight. For some destinations, the savings could amount to several $100s a ticket.
Let's go.
Get on it.
Where are we going? I don't know. Let's just go.
Someplace snowy. How does that
There
sound?
you go. Sounds good to me. Thank you for watching the Channel 4 News here at 5 and 5:30.
Stay where you are. Anna Garcia is standing by with a look at what's new on the Channel 4 News at 6. Anna.
Colleen and Paul, Proposition 8, the ban on same-sex marriage. By now you know it passed. Coming up only at 6, two women who defied odds and they tied the knot today in LA County.
We realized that it was really important and needed to be done right now.
So how did they get a marriage license with the ban in effect? Also at 6, long lines for Obama keepsakes see the rush at the newsstands across Southern California. And beam me up, Scotty, the much talked about election hologram. Did you see it tonight? We can show you how CNN did it. And the Latino vote, why Barack Obama couldn't have won the White House without their help. Local reaction just 3 minutes away. It's next at 6.
Barack Obama, elected the 44th President of the United States. Reaction from across the country and around the world. Tonight on a special edition of NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams, America's #1 evening newscast.
Live from NBC4, this is the Channel 4 News at 6.